So Mike, why don't you tell me about your album, What Just Happened?
Cool, yeah. Well, the album, What Just Happened, this was my first ever album, and I released it April the 9th, I think, 2013, so it's not even a year old. And it kind of came about because I released this one single, and it kind of took off, and people were asking, where's the album? And I didn't really have any other songs, so I kind of
Which song was that?
Well, Somebody That I Used to Know.
Oh, that song.
Yeah. Well, it's not even my song, but that cover. But so I spent the rest of 2012 composing the album and recording it, and then it was released in April through a label called Candy Rat Records. And yeah, again, very humbled and fortunate for it to have been well received. And the album came out on the 9th of April. My first ever gig outside the UK was on April the 13th in Germany. And I kind of have just been touring ever since.
Right.
Just went to Europe, went to Asia, went to Australia, went to, but this is my second time in the US, and did Canada before that, and did the first ever fingerstyle instrumental concert in Lebanon.
Wow.
Yeah, just all kinds of weird things.
What was the audience like?
Amazing.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, some of the nicest people in the world. I'd highly recommend people visit Beirut if they can. It's such a beautiful city, and the people are so hospitable and lovely, and one of the rowdiest audiences I think I've ever had. It was more like a rock concert.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were very happy that you came.
I hope so. It was a great experience, yeah.
And you tour with Justin Hayward.
Yeah.
Right?
So Justin Hayward is, for those of you that may not know, he's the front man of singer, voice of the Moody Blues, legendary sort of British prog rock band. So he emailed me back in, I think it was before my album even came out, or maybe just after. I don't know how he heard of me, but I know it wasn't through YouTube. It was some strange connection that you wouldn't expect, I think. Huh. But yeah, and I sort of met up with him. We had a little jam, and then he asked me to join his band. So we went out in August and did a 2.5-week tour of the East Coast. And it was great because I was sort of playing percussive guitar arrangements of the Moody Blues songs, just songs like Question and Nights in White Satin, sort of arranged for acoustic guitar, and then I played a Telecaster, play some electric guitar on some other songs, but also he asked me to open the shows with my solo music. So it's awesome. a tough tour because I was sort of playing my heart out with solo stuff, then going backstage, putting my hair in a ponytail and drinking a glass of water, retuning the guitar, and back on stage for the full set. But yeah, we'll be doing something else very soon. It hasn't been announced just yet, but maybe by the time this video is out, it will be. But yeah.
Tell me about the recording process for your album. Did you just kind of...
Yeah, well, that the recording was done by an amazing friend and producer engineer, Josh Clark, at a company called Get Real Audio in Bath in the UK. I studied music in Bath.
Okay. It's
one of my favourite places in the world. I love that town. And Josh was worked at my university as sort of a studio technician, and he also happens to be sort of the go-to folk music producer in the UK. And he has this great approach to recording. It's very, very, very informal. There's no sort of hold your breath, the red light goes on. We're in his sort of basement studio, and there's a cat called Harvey that's sort of walking over the keyboard as we're recording, things like that. We all have cups of tea and sandwiches and local chutney and things like that, and we just gradually recorded the album over a period of several months, rather than, I guess, the traditional approach would be to write all the songs and go into the studio for a week and record them. But as I mentioned before, I didn't have any songs. So what I would do is I'd spend a month working on a song, and then I'd record it.
Right.
And then I'd spend a month working on a song, and then I'd record it. So what inevitably happened at the end of the recording sessions, I'd forgotten the first songs.
I guess you need to practice a lot.
Exactly.
To
Well, there's a lot of notes in there sometimes, and so yeah, there was maybe two months or so of pre-production for the tour when I had to sort of go back and relearn all the songs I'd recorded.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really great process, and I'm really looking forward to working with Josh again. And if you're in Bath or the west of England, I'd highly recommend looking up Get Real Audio, because yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
That's awesome. That sounds like a very comfortable sort of...
Yeah, it was great. I'm quite nervous at recording. Yeah. You know, it's sort of like as soon as that button goes on, everything changes. But this is a great atmosphere to work with, and yeah, really happy we worked together. It's great.
Cool. Tell me about your guitar.
This guitar. Well, this is my the guitar I take on tour, and it's not even a year old, or maybe it's just a year old. I got it in February. last year, so just before the album came out. It's not actually on any of the album recordings because it's so new, but it's made by the same maker as that guitar. It's a guy named Nick Benjamin from Lewes down near Brighton in the UK.
Okay.
And it's a handmade guitar made by just one guy in a little workshop. Makes about 6 guitars every 6 months, and this is his 138th guitar.
Wow.
And it's nice and simple, understated aesthetic. Really, we've got Sitka spruce on the top, mahogany on the back and sides, and yeah, it's got a few little other bells and whistles. This is I get asked about this quite a lot. It's just a piece of spruce wood that just hasn't been treated. It's just been taped on, double-sided tape.
Okay.
And what this does, basically, after a certain while, I've been scratching it. You can see these scratch marks happening as I'm doing it. Right. Over time, that's just worn down.
Yeah.
To get this kind of guiro sort of
Yeah.
effect, where the hard bits of wood have stayed there and the soft bits get worn away. And this is something that Nick actually developed for one of my guitar heroes, Eric Roche. When he, I think, wore away the finish on one of his guitars, he just sort of stuck a piece of wood on, and I guess it provides the same function as a scratch blade does, you know.
Right.
But you get some percussive little sounds out of it.
A little extra doodad.
Little extra doodad. So you want a sort of a bike horn on the end, you know.
Oh yeah.
All kinds of bells and whistles. Exactly. But that's what this is, yeah. And it's
what do you
Nick
use to
Benjamin
amplify
guitar.
that? What is
So at the moment, there's 3 pickups in the guitar. There's 3 sound sources. We have a piezo under here and a microphone inside, and then we have this little sound hole pickup. This is actually a gold pickup, but I've just put some black tape on it for various reasons. But yeah, the main signal is the pickup and microphone, and that really helps with things like the percussion. You know, you have to have a microphone in there to pick that up. And the sound hole pickup adds a little bit of warmth to it. I crank the bass quite a lot on the sound hole pickup, so this guitar is quite thin. I really like this because I'm a big fan of the sort of this tight sort of very small snare drum like sound.
Yeah.
But so I add in a little bit more chunk, you know, a little bit more girth and bass with the sound hole pickup on the EQ. So that's what that's for. And yeah, it comes out of 2 sockets. We got the pickup and mic coming out of one, and then the magnetic coming out of another.
Oh, okay.
And then I have all sorts of bells and whistles on the floor to blend these together and EQ them separately. And then I run a lot of little fun effects like wah and delay and things for the live show, which are a little bit different to the recording, but you know, make it a little bit fun for guitar geeks like me to tap dance while we play. You know? That's what that's
little
about.
movement there.
Exactly.